every one of you for being here on today. We thank our faith leaders that have joined us on today, as well as community partners, our elected officials, and concerned citizens for joining us on today, because this is not just an event. It's a moment of moral clarity. This press conference was originally planned for Kennedy King Park, a site of tremendous historical and moral significance, where Senator Robert F. Kennedy stood and spoke words of peace, unity, and courage in the immediate aftermath of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Unfortunately, fencing around the park prevented us from gathering there today, but how fitting it is that we've been able to gather here at the Grace Missionary Baptist Church, a place where the doors of justice, faith, and community are always open. Whether we're at the park or in the sanctuary, our purpose remains the same. We're here to say one voice and one stand. We're here because Indiana's Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith continues to defend the Three-Fifths Compromise, a constitutional clause that reduced black bodies to 3/5 of a human being for political power. Let me say this with all clarity, that the Three-Fifths Compromise was not a brilliant strategy. It was not a necessary evil. It was a shameful stain, a direct assault on the dignity of our ancestors. To praise it as a great move is not political analysis, it's moral malpractice. And now, rather than walking back, Lieutenant Governor Beckwith has doubled down, repeating and justifying this rhetoric in interviews across the state. And where is Governor Mike Braun? He has said he doesn't like it. The statement, "I don't like it," is not enough. Not for 2025, not in a state where black people still have to fight for equity in education, in health, in housing, and justice. And silence is complicity. That's why we're here. We're here as black and white clergy, standing together, one voice, one stand. Truth doesn't change based on party affiliation, because history cannot be rewritten to protect power, because dignity is not debatable. We're here to say to the governor of this state, your silence is hurting us. Your neutrality is loud, and your leadership is needed right now. Because we're not 3/5, we're a whole, we're worthy, and we're watching. Today we will hear from the voices of truth, from white pastors and black pastors, from people who still believe that Dr. King's dream must not die in the mouths of politicians who misrepresent our past. Again, thank you for being here. We need to make this a moment where it's a turning point, not just in conversation, but in courage. First, going to hear, to my immediate left, the lead pastor of the Common Ground Christian Church. Jeff, we're in your hands. That will be followed by Dr. Lyon, who's representing the Wesleyan Church.
Thank you, Dr. Green. Thank you to the concerned clergy, to our elected officials, to all of you who have joined us here to speak on behalf of this cause unaddressed. And so I'm here to join my voice in asking Governor Braun to condemn these remarks and for the Lieutenant Governor to apologize publicly. Because our Christian convictions remind us that all persons are made in the image of God and therefore are endowed by our Creator with dignity and equality. And the Lieutenant Governor's suggestion that the Three-Fifths Compromise was a great move carries long-standing racial underpassion and perspective for the long and painful struggle for freedom and justice for our African-American neighbors. This revisionist impulse continues to harm marginalized communities. It continues to build walls of division, pain, and mistrust. And so we're appealing to our leaders to see this moment as an opportunity to build trust, to engender goodwill for citizens, for all the citizens of our state. Comparatives that create the possibility for cooperation and the flourishing of all people. And I pray that our leaders will see this moment as an invitation to continue to build the inclusive and beloved community that Dr. King envisioned. And so the hope of the gospel is that God is making all things new, and therefore I believe that beauty can come from ashes and that healing can come from injury. That's right. And so I pray that our leaders will act with humility and integrity in this moment, that they will seek forgiveness from those that they have injured, that they will seek to build bridges of inclusion that leads to the flourishing of all of our communities as God has intended. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great to be with all of you today. And I was glad when I came in the parking lot and I did not find a place to park. My name is Joanne Lyon. I'm the General Superintendent Emerita of the Wesleyan Church denomination, which has its headquarters here in Indianapolis. Faith tradition, we believe that everyone is created in the image of God, fully human. When I heard that Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith had stated that the 3/5 compromise was a great move for ending slavery, I was appalled. I remembered the very founding of the Wesleyan Church was about abolition. We were early abolitionists. That was that we saw this evil sin of slavery and the dehumanization of people made in the image of God. So I thought of the many churches still in existence here in Indiana. Just 60 miles north is a church that was on the Underground Railroad. And in that church, they still preserve the old door that is filled with bullet holes, as the pastor took care of and made safety the enslaved people in his church. I remembered the many Wesleyans who lost their lives, and even remembered the statement that was made in North Carolina: there were not enough nooses in North Carolina as they wanted to hang. When I heard this, I thought, no. After I realized I cannot remain silent in this. I cannot have this statement being made out of my own faith and moral integrity.
That's right.
I cannot allow this type of language leading to revisionist history